Stageplays is one of the companies in New York City that provides a consistent, thought-out, focused developmental plan for playwrights. This is of extremely important value to the playwright. It helps the playwright to shape the character, to focus the theme. It helps us to develop the story of the play before we put it in front of an invited audience. It's a fascinating aspect of the theater to be involved with, and most importantly, it's rare that you get to see this type of a video. What you'll see is spontaneity, passion, and love of theater. If nothing else, what we hope you get from watching this video is a true appreciation of what goes into developing a play, how a play moves from this process to the production process, and most importantly, a sense of the dedication of the artists who are involved in the process. Either Lily or Louie, since both of you were here the first time around, any additional insights or thoughts that you'd like to share about the play? Or
you know, this version is really clear what's going on and streamlined and, you know, tight.
Yeah. Even if you look at someone like Obama, who's now our president, which I think the greatest thing about this play is that it takes place such a short amount of time ago. Mm-hmm. You really see how much has changed, but at the same time, so many of these ideas still linger in people's subconscious minds, and a lot of elderly in our country, and in many parts across the country. I mean, there are so many people who have very racist views.
do you feel that the play makes audiences, no matter what race, racial background, ethnicity, uncomfortable?
I found that whole thing completely hilarious. I mean, because the absurdity of it was that, oh, colored food, like, food is food. You're going to eat it no matter, you know.
Right.
You just because it's watermelon as a colored food, you still eat watermelon. You know, it's sort of like, for me, I kind of liked not feeling uncomfortable per se to like the very end, like when, you know, he's in the hospital, and that's what hits you hard.
I think the rest there were some real funny moments all the way through it, and I think that's one of the things that is so successful about it, is because it's not like hitting you over the head. And to me, that made it so that I could actually hear it and observe it and not be uncomfortable and shut down. I was actually open to hearing what was going on.
When I went to junior high in Enterprise, Alabama, there were no blacks in that school. And so now we have a black president. What can I say? The country has changed quite a bit. But the validity of the play is remarkable in that it holds up a microcosm of our society at that time.
You know John Hope Franklin?
And I'd like to just kind of toss that out and see how people, what your feelings were going to get into versus what we actually have here on the table. Just, you know, whatever anyone has any thoughts on it.
Tom first asked me, you know, that reading the role in Broken Fences. I said, oh, cool, yeah. And he said, you know, the character name is Hoodie. I was like, oh yeah, Hoodie. Then he started breaking down the character, you know, former gang member, you know. I was like, so in my inner monologue, I was like, oh, you know, what is this going to be? You know, it's a little bit. But man, I must tell you, man, after reading the whole piece, man, I have to, you know, I take my hat off to you, man, because what you created, I mean, an excellent piece, all the rich characters, but particularly, you know, character, because I read it, I feel a connection to him, because you didn't write an angry black man, which I was so worried. I was like, oh, he's going to be angry, he's going to shoot 5 people at the end, he's going to go to jail, you know, it's like typical, you know, so I was like, but man, I'm telling you, it's like heroic, you know what I mean, this guy's like, he's like a hero because he got himself out of the gutter, you know, in the gang, you know, gonna marry someone, you know, attempt to raise a child, trying to hold on to any member of his mother, which was dear to him, right? You know, and you don't see a lot of that on stage and in television, you know, about a black man who made mistakes, fixed himself up, you know, by his own bootstraps.
I think a lot of these conversations happen within subcultures. I think you'll find sort of upwardly mobile white people talking about gentrification, and you'll find sort of, you know, middle class African Americans talking about it. And you'll find people that have been disenfranchised talking about it, but they don't always talk about it to each other. And I think, you know, in its most lofty goal, it would be great to have an audience of people that's diverse, a cast that's diverse, sort of having this conversation together night after night in the theater. I think theater can stir that conversation. Good theater can do that. So I mean, its most grand adventure would be to try and add to that conversation.
What do you think of the changes, Al? They're kind
What
of
do I
subtle.
think of them?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Well, because
Since I did them, I think they're
they're
great.
great. right?
How did you tweak?
Many things got tweaked, especially with the entrance of Dirk, because
And
well-
leading up to the umbrella fight.
yes, and the biggest change I made altogether, and it was my fault to begin with. It's one of those things you don't see until you've heard it 3 or 4 times. When she talks about horniness, she talks about the weaponry first. In this new version, the weaponry first and the erotic ornaments second. When it was originally written, that was reversed, but somehow the erotic ornaments got lost, and I thought that was the stronger image, and so I switched them around.
And you got to hear it out loud today, and
It's
it works
better this way. It is better this way.
Well, this play is the 16th one-act of a collection of one-acts that we've been working on since May, probably, right? And we're going to lock this script tonight, and then we're going to go to press. And the book will be out probably about 6 weeks. We'll do a presentation. I don't know.